Stress is part of being human. It can motivate you to get things done, but high stress can cause serious illness, it can cause job loss, it can wreak havoc on your whole body. And you can feel more stressed at certain different times of your life. But I really believe that you can learn to manage your stress. And the more that you can learn to manage it, and the more that you can learn to stay on top of your stress, is how we are going to lead to a more happier and fulfilled life and not letting it get on top of you. So here are some of my stress management tools that you could start thinking about and try them out and then see what works for you. Some things are keeping a positive attitude. So I'm always trying to think of what I'm grateful for. I'm a positive person, so I do tend to lean more towards the positive side of things. But there is positive affirmations and there's those things, and you can write them on the mirror, you can say them. I've talked before about an app that I have called I Am that shows up on my phone and my watch with positive quotes. That's something that you can use to keep stress at bay. Secondly, I'm a big believer in learning to think about things and accept what the things you can control and what the things you can't control. It can be good just to journal this stuff out and writing it out, then obviously focusing on the things that you can control. My tip number 3 is learning to manage your time, because that lots of times when we're running late for things or we book too many things in, that tends to add more stress into our life. If that's something that you do, look at your time and see how you can manage your time differently. Now remember, we all have the same amount of time in the day. It is just to think about how you are using your time. Don't rely on alcohol and drugs or compulsive behaviors to reduce your stress. Drugs and alcohol can actually stress your body even more. Doing activities like getting outside, going for a walk, being with nature is being known to a great way to reduce stress and just take you away from that situation. Set limits. So sometimes there is boundaries that get crossed. We get stressed because we feel overwhelmed with things. So think about what are the things that might be stressing you and how you could set limits to them. It could be saying no to certain things today because you know it's going to get too much for you. In part of this as well, you could actually look at when you're tracking your cycle. There is parts of the month where we feel we're going to be more fatigued. So maybe doing activities on those times of the month, you won't feel as much like doing it. So becoming aware of that. Making time for your hobbies and interests. So making sure you're including those things into your life, and that is going to help you de-stress and stay stress-free. Exercise is a massive one in reducing stress. So make sure if you're putting some form of exercise into your life, you get that natural feel-good hormone when you do get a workout in. And I keep saying to people, when you feel like not doing a workout, it's generally the time that you need to do a workout. And I've never heard anybody say they regret doing the workout. So again, as a stress management strategy, you would be thinking, okay, I need to see how I can make sure I'm implementing some form of exercise into my life. For me, I find running a great de-stressor. So I make sure that I get a run in every day, even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes. It is just something that helps calm me down. It helps me plan my day. It's something that's now, it just happens every day. So that's another exercise is a big one. Your food, when we start eating foods that are not great for us or don't work for our bodies, you're eating more junk food, more processed foods, it tends to add more stress onto your body and you feel worse about yourself. So I know there's more fatigue and sugar, you get the high and the low of sugar, all of those things. So being aware of those things and the food that you're eating and how that stuff can add to your stress. Junk food can always seem more appealing when you're under a lot of stress, but just try to remember that you're going to get that quick high and then you're going to come crashing down and you're going to want more and you're going to feel worse about yourself. Sleep is a massive one. When we are tired, we tend to make poorer choices with food. We're more irritable. So making sure that you get an adequate amount of sleep per night is a great stress saving strategy. The other things that you can look at is putting in meditations daily. So you have to work out what works for you. There's meditations, there is different forms of there's breathwork meditations, which are my favorite. There is yoga, doing restorative yoga before bed where you hold a pose for a longer time. I get a great sleep when I do that. Deep breathing. When you practice deep breathing, you turn on your body's natural ability to relax, and it creates a state of deep rest that can change how your body responds to stress. So you can deep breathe throughout the whole day. You can just take a few minutes to take a few slow breaths. You could breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. That's that box type breathing. You can do things like that. It's just, and the more regularly you do it, you're going to be able to help get yourself out of that fight or flight mode. So that is another stress management strategy. Heard of laughter therapy. So when you laugh, you end up taking in more oxygen, and your heart, your lungs, and your muscles, they get a boost, and your body releases those feel-good hormones. Laughter is also been known to improve your immune system. It lessens pain and improves your mood for long periods of time. So how could you fit more laughter into your day? That little inner voice in our head sometimes creates more stress than anything, and we are always our worst critic. But the thing to understand and to remind yourself of is that you are in control. So when that little voice gives those negative thoughts, I want you to think about how you can change those negative thoughts for more positive thoughts. And again, it's not done instantly, but the more regular you do it, we will start thinking more positively. There are more benefits to positive self-talk than just reducing stress alone, but it is a great tool that you can use. You could also do things to be more positive, as you could have post-its around the mirror or in front of you. You could put a positive quote on your phone that you can see and remind yourself of. You can have it on your vision board or anything like that. So how can we implement these things into your life? Reducing stress and understanding what your stress are, what are your triggers, and then looking at how you can reduce them. So what I want you to do is I want you to work out what your main stresses are, and we all have stresses. Then think about what you can control, what you can't control, and then how can you implement these into your life. So a stress saving strategy could be making sure you get more laughter into your life. Could it be watching a comedy film? Could it be going and meeting a friend that you know you get lots of belly laughs with? Something like that. And how can you make sure that that is something that you're implementing into your life all the time? It can be, obviously, I use running as a stress management tool. I use breathwork meditation as a stress management tool. So I implement them into my life daily. And the key is to make sure that you are implementing these things even when you don't feel that you are stressed, because you need to stay on top of it. What happens is people think that they're okay, and then they let this stuff drop, and then it all builds back up again. So remember, these strategies are things we want to fit into our life so we can stay on top of your stress. We don't want to be doing them when you are stressed. These are the preventative strategies that we need to do to keep it at bay or keep your stress away.